Hi everyone. If you hear any sounds in the background, aside from the heater, in case the microphone picks that up, Apollo is back here with me in my room, and he's got crazy eyes, and he's doing some chittering and some running around, and I say to him, "Hey, I love you so much, but don't feel like you have to contain your crazy back here with me. Go share it with the rest of the house. There's other cats. Go be crazy with them. Sometimes there's another mommy floating around in here. Go be crazy with her. Why do you have to keep it back here with me? You don't have to do that." And he's like, "But this is where the both of us can feel safe together and be crazy together and nobody's judging us." And I was like, no, I didn't have a full fucking conversation with my cat, but I would if I could. Um, okay, so who is autistic this week? Nobody asked. Well, did anybody see the America's Next Top Model documentary that just came out on Netflix? I mean, maybe not, because I am all over these fucking documentaries. I fucking love documentaries. And I have been waiting for this one because I don't want to say I grew up, even though I was a young adult and I was growing up. Hold on. Can you please stop doing that? Hey, excuse me. That's my wall. Damn, I wish I had pocket treats. I don't have any, but Um, oh shit. I don't have any on me right now, but at least you're not scraping shit off the wall. Um, Sorry, I love you. I did not mean to tease that cat. Where was I? So yeah, I was in my 20s, I think, when that show came out. I watched every season. And to explain how I was in my 20s, I would liken it to Jillian Michaels, like how she was on Biggest Loser. Um, Anybody else that seemed like they were a bit unwell, I would lump myself in with that group. So all I mean by that, no, I was not an asshole. I was not a dirty soul. I wasn't, I was a bitch, which I think is different from an asshole. And I'll explain the two to you someday if anybody cares to know the difference. Um, but I remember watching that show and I remember thinking, this is not really like that's kind of mean how you're talking to somebody. But like if you remember back when that show came out, it's just like it's so fascinating to me how like it feels like we're constantly in cave person times, like ooh, ooh, oh, oh, like do, 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 do. Like I don't know how else to say. I shouldn't have said it like that. I just mean like what the fuck were we doing in like the early 2000s still talking to people like this? Why are we doing this today? Why are we treating people like pieces of shit? Like that is such caveman bullshit. Like have we not evolved as much as I would like to think that we have? Apparently not. And I go back like I was watching. I mean, da 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 da. Okay, I interrupted my brain. Get me back on track. Um, I was out today already, so if that explains anything. But I remember finding the show amusing. Also I was obsessed with it because it was considered like, it was when reality TV was like a thing, and now we know it's not really reality because they don't actually show all of the real shit that's going on. That's the part of reality they hide from you, like all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that shouldn't have gone on. And I couldn't believe that like I did not give that behavior a second thought like a lot of people didn't. And then 2026 you're watching the show back and just the clips that they showed, I was like, wow, I liked this show. What was wrong with my brain that I liked this show and that like I found it entertaining? Um and that like I believed that this is what the modeling world was like, like I was young, I was naive, I ate that shit up. And that's just like gross watching that back. And I really think Tyra Banks is autistic. That's I should have just led with that. She's autistic. Have I mentioned that before? I don't think she knows. I am not an autistic whisperer by any means, but I remember having that thought a couple years ago for some reason. I saw her somewhere. Um So like I'm watching this documentary and I'm like waiting for her to make her appearance and wondering like, have you changed as a person? Are you just gonna sit here and deny everything? And I'm on the fence. I think that I think she has changed. I guess like I personally would have liked to have seen more ownership. Like you could have said more and taken way more ownership. Like there were 3 episodes. Like, is that the best that they really got of her? And I liked at the end where she was like, you don't change unless you're called on your shit and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, it feels like she has learned, but at the same time, you could have said a little bit more because she really um like that show was pretty damaging to people. And you could see Tyra Banks having full on fucking meltdowns right on camera. And like I do feel bad for people who are famous, because like all your shit is filmed and it's there forever. Like, oh my god, if my worst meltdown was like filmed and millions of people saw it, like I don't know what I would do. I would not enjoy that at all. you know so like I do feel bad in the sense that like we all have been, or maybe not all of us. I would like to think a lot of us have had times during our lives where we have just been shitty people, whether that was a year or a day or sporadically. Like, we've not been the best people our entire lives. And so, you know, some of us don't have to have that filmed, and thank goodness, because that's embarrassing. And she seems like she dealt with it well, but I don't know. I'm curious to see if there's any other opinions. Not as far as like, is she autistic? Because I'm convinced that that bitch is. Um, Not just on like the documentary on America's Next Top Model, not just based on her there. Like, um, anyways, that's who I'm going with this week. And also, I will not be watching that show back. That is not a show that I'm like, ooh, let me like, ooh, how many? There's like 24, 25 seasons of that shit. Oh, and you know what? Why am I on here talking about it like this? I don't know. But do you remember the two J's? Miss J and oh, I loved the J's and I loved Nigel. And a little of my love went away, I think, not toward him, but I know maybe when I found out that they hired him because they wanted a straight white male on the show. Are you fucking serious? When are we gonna stop like doing this shit? It's still happening. I gotta move on. Um, I actually got on here because it's been a while since I went out into the world and something happened, and I was like, I gotta get on here and talk about it. So this is one of those times. So, ah, I am gonna try my best to describe this, and I really hope that you don't judge me. Um, because I really am gonna try to get my mouth and my brain to match up as best as possible to explain like how I perceived this situation. So yesterday, Alicia had a doctor's appointment, just a checkup, and she wanted me to go with her. And I was like, sure. Look at you asking me to go with you to your appointments. So yeah, that was nice. So I went with her. And then, I felt great about it until like 2 minutes after we got into the building because we get there early, you know, 20 minutes early for her appointment, just to be told at the front desk that her doctor is about 20 to 25 minutes behind. Now, I have bitched about this multiple episodes. So fucking sick of this shit. You mean to tell me that all you fucking doctors don't know how to keep yourself on time? Like, how can you have one patient throw you off for your entire fucking day? Like, and how does this happen on a regular basis? I just do not understand. It's a fucking clinic. It's not even like a hospital. It's a fucking clinic. Um, Sorry. But anyways, so that's what we were told, and I'm like, whatever. So I just told myself inside my head, hey, you don't have to go and do anything. You don't have commitments. You don't have like places you need to be. So you better have some patience up your asshole. And I was like, yes, I do, Brain. I do. I am patient. So we sat down and um, we were out there for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And I wasn't thinking too much of it because I was talking almost the entire time to Alicia, telling her how my visit with Janice yesterday went. And so, if, as long as I can talk and I have things to say, time just flies by. And she's nice enough to listen. She participates in the conversation too, but it's mostly for my benefit because I've got to keep my brain on something and I didn't feel like reading. And anyways, so then we finally get called back and the tech does her little ditty for like, asking the basic questions and tippity tapping on the computer. And then it's like, okay, doctor will be in soon. Bye. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? We were back there for almost 45 minutes in addition to like what we were waiting for outside in the lobby area. And I had run out of things to say. I ran out of things to look at in that dumb little room. And so I started like my patience just was out because then it turned to do you remember that we're back here? Like I have such bad memories of having gone through appointments where I'm like, did y'all fucking forget about me? Like why are you shutting the door? You're shutting the door so I don't see that you're walking by so I can flag you down. Like, do you remember me? So I started like losing my shit a little bit and I was like, I am gonna open this fucking door. And Alicia's like, don't open it. And I was like, I'm opening it because like somebody needs to know that we're in here and we have been in here a long time. Like, I tried. I really, really tried. But I was like, dude, because then it was like, now you are wasting my time, you motherfuckers. So then, as I was like mid rant, is when her doctor decided to show her face. So I had to stop ranting. And then I couldn't even finish that. And I was like, great. Now I'm stuck with this anger inside my body. And so I just made it disappear. I was like, go away, anger. Poof. And it disappeared. Um, it went somewhere. I don't know where it went, but it manifested itself later. So the doctor comes in, doesn't even say sorry. Now, the lady is nice. I like her. She is a good doctor, but bitch, you know you're behind. You know that this appointment should have happened and been done with so long ago. And you can't say you're sorry. Not to mention, I wouldn't have done anything for me anyways because I already told myself that bitch better not come in here and fucking say sorry. Sorry. Anyways, I realize how I sound right now and I'm okay with it. So I'm just going to keep going. And so she does the little doctor appointment, ask questions, da 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 da. Oh, I see that you need blood work today. And Alicia's like, yeah, the tech had mentioned that and said she was going to wait and see what you thought. And like, why did techs do this? Like, if blood work is due, you need to fucking do it. The doctor, like, what doctor says, nah, they're not the ones getting poked with fucking needles. Of course they're going to say do it. So her doctor was like, yeah, we think you should get the blood work. So, um, we're going to send somebody in there to get it. And then you're good to go for the day or whatever. Okay. So that's where we're at in this appointment. Now let me rewind. That was a mix of Dory and like a VHS cassette thingy rewinding. Okay, so like we're out in the lobby, right? And I'm talking and I notice so like I'm just stating facts right now. I'm not judging. There's this lady that it was like obvious that she was hearing impaired. She had hearing aids and her voice was different and it was just obvious. No judgment here whatsoever, okay? I don't judge. So I just happened to notice because like as I talk, like I am always hyper vigilant. Like I'm noticing what's going on around me. I may not be paying attention to like words that other people are saying, but like I always am looking at like it's like a safety thing. It's like that trauma bullshit. Like, am I safe? Where are the exits? What are people doing? I'm always keeping an eye on what other people are doing. And so like this lady, I've never seen her there before, so I assumed she was new. And she was calling people back and as I was sharing with Alicia my Janice visit, I had the thought that, oh, that lady's coworkers don't seem to like her too much because there's just a bunch of people up at the desk, like when you have people check in, you got like several people up there waiting to check people in, and it just seems like a few of them shot her a dirty look and just for her pure presence. And so I just logged that away, but it didn't register to me that they were doing that because of her hearing impairment. You know how people are assholes and they judge? That's not the sense that I got as to why they gave her dirty looks, okay? So there's that. So I just kind of clocked it, I suppose, and forgot about it. Um, so there was that. So I had those dynamics already paid attention to. So now let's go back to the room, and we're waiting for somebody to come back and take my wife's blood. Okay, so now that's where we're at. And Alicia has a blood phobia, very bad. She used to just pass out and piss herself. She said I could talk about it, so that's why I said that. She hasn't done that in years. Actually, like that was before I met her. So that was like many, many years ago. And over time, her blood phobia has improved. But she's somebody like she has to lay down whenever she gets blood drawn. She usually needs like apple juice or something afterward, like that kind of stuff. She just like goes somewhere in her brain. And so when she takes me with her to her appointments, I'm there to be like um basically like her driver after the appointment, and also her hand squeezer, you know. She takes my hand and squeezes the shit out of that when they're drawing blood, and I just accept it because that's the least I can do. And okay, so there's that. So in comes the hearing impaired lady. Is there a name I can give her? Because I don't want to keep referring to her like that. She is not her impairment. I'll just call her Debbie. Is she a Debbie? Maybe she's a Debbie. I don't know. I'll just say Debbie. So Debbie comes back there, and she's going to be the one that draws the blood. And she does all the things that you're supposed to do to get ready to draw the blood, and like has the tourniquet on, and like I'm standing up by Alicia on the other side of her. And so I the lady gets ready to draw the blood or do whatever she's gonna do, and I'm like, can you push the Alicia wanted to lay back, and we're like, can you push the table down so she can like lay down? And Debbie pushed it like maybe 35-degree angle. Like she was still sitting up. She wasn't laying down. She wasn't even halfway laying down. And keep in mind, you have two neurodivergent people, Alicia and I, in this room, and we don't always know how to speak up for ourselves. So we just didn't say anything. And later on, Alicia was like, I just figured she was like really good at what she did. She probably thought laying me down would have been like a waste of time because it would have been that quick. I don't know. We told ourselves stories that weren't true. And turns out, so this lady, this Debbie lady, doesn't know how to fucking draw blood, but she doesn't look like she's new to the job either. Um, she spent forever on Alicia's right arm. Nothing happened. And so she's like, let me try the other one. And so we switched positions. I went on the other side of Alicia so Alicia could grab my hand, and the lady tried the other arm, and like it wasn't working, and then she was fucking around with it and like with the vein trying to find it, and Alicia got like really nauseous. And like, have you ever felt that specific nausea feeling at like a hospital? Like maybe it doesn't have to occur at the hospital, but that's like the only time I've really like I feel nausea like regularly. But like when I went for Sylvester, good luck. I don't have time to explain that. I was there a few years ago, and I the same thing happened. Somebody didn't know what they were doing with the blood thing, and like too much poking around. I got so nauseous. It's the worst feeling. It's the worst. And that's what happened to her. Okay, so then like this is like a good 10 minutes this lady has been trying. And the entire time, like it's not registering yet that like she doesn't know what she's doing. Like I really am like under the impression that like, oh, Alicia's veins are just hard to find today. Because she wasn't acting frazzled, the Debbie lady, she wasn't acting frazzled or anything like that. And then so Alicia starts getting really queasy, and the lady like stops what she's doing, and then like takes 2 minutes to find a barf bag that we ended up not needing. But like it would have been 2 minutes too late, bitch, for you to go find it in the drawer, like right there at the top. Like I don't know what this lady was on. And so then she actually says the words, well, legally, I can poke you for a third time, but I can't do anything more than that. Would you like that? And I am starting to like realize, wait a minute, something's weird about this situation. So the lady's like, I'll be right back. And she leaves. And Alicia is already in trauma land. Like, she is like unresponsive. She is just trying her best to, like, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to have like that serious of a blood phobia. But basically I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do? This isn't this maybe we need to stop this now. Okay, so like the lady comes back into the room and brings another person with her, and we're thinking, great, you brought somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing. Let's just get this shit done with and we can go. Right? That's what we thought was gonna happen. So they both come in there. The other lady didn't do nothing. She just watched. It was like she was confused as to why she was even there. And old Debbie tried again at the arm. She kept trying. And so, like, sorry about all the like the detail, but I feel like it's important because like I am really trying to process what is happening right now. And so like when Debbie was on the other side, I couldn't see what she was doing with Alicia's arm because like Alicia was like there was like the pillow was in the way and like blankets or something. So like I assumed that with all that was going on that blood had finally been drawn and like they were filling tubes. That's what I thought was going on. 2-3 minutes goes by and all I see is empty tubes being put back on the table. And I was like, "What?" And I know I think my face changed because Alicia's like, "Yeah, I didn't like the look that you got." And then I was like, "Huh, something's not right." So then the lady was like wanting to try again. And I'm like, "This is done." I was like, "No, we're done for today. Like, we can come back another time. Like, you're not joining. Like, we're done. We're done." And it was a very weird situation because like Debbie didn't have a bedside manner. She was like being pretty invalidating, like it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal, like you're okay. Do you want me to come back in a little bit? Like it was weird. You just said you couldn't legally like stab her a third more than 3 times and like you're offering to do it again. And it was like in that moment that the entire situation made sense to me. Okay, oh, your coworkers must not like you because you don't know what you're doing. And the impression that I got was that she was trying to compensate for maybe the perceived disability, you know? Like who hasn't done that? Like we've all overcompensated. Like I've made sure that like if I didn't know how to do something, I wasn't acting like I didn't know how to do it way back in the day before I did therapy and knew I needed to change to become a better human. Like what the fuck? I was, um where was I going with this? I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. Where am I at with time? Oh, 22 minutes. Sorry for all the mouth sounds. Uh-oh, a drink. Well, hopefully you didn't hear that. Anyways, this is sorry. It's like I'm bringing like our trauma got triggered basically is what I'm trying to say. So like it was just like it was a very weird and not good situation. The lady had no empathy. She was invalidating. I realized that like I think she was just like the kind of person that like I'm not going to ask for help or let on that I don't know what I'm doing or that this is a difficult situation currently because of what people might think. That is exactly the impression I got. I'm not trying to be a dickhead. It's just I can read people. I know what's going on. And all of the information that I got earlier from the lobby it made sense. It all made sense to me and I knew what was going on. And I knew that lady that she brought in there she actually did not know why she was there. She didn't know that the lady was struggling to fucking take blood. So I don't know what Debbie said to the lady to bring her back there. I don't know. Okay. And I was starting to get so pissed because like as that was going on and I realized what was happening, then there's other war takes place inside my head because the 20 something year old in me wants to come out and be like, "Excuse me, what the fuck just happened in here? Like, look at what she did to my wife. Look how she's feeling right now. Like, she's barely responsive because she's stuck in her fucking trauma because of you motherfuckers. And you don't even have the decency to say, I'm sorry, but you're going to be invalidating." So, like, I am fighting with myself not to let my mouth just run away with me because it never worked out in the past. It made things worse. And so it was like one of the first times I was actually aware of myself in the moment, like, and trying to stop myself from doing something that I have. I paid therapy. I paid for therapy to, like, be a better person. So the best I could do was not, I didn't say nothing. except like we will come back another day. She offered a lab visit appointment. I said go make the appointment. I took the card and we left. Like but oh my God, just I'm so pissed right now just thinking about that because the lady like how are you a human and you see another human who's upset and she doesn't know what's going on and you're like I was livid. And so these days, instead of being confrontational, I'm not at the point yet where I have tact and can communicate clearly and like a nice human in moments like that. So I just don't say anything. And that's what happened. And I was like, we're done today. That's it. So she gives us the appointment and she leaves us in the room. She's like waiting for us to follow her out. And my wife is still laying down on the table. I'm like, we're going to be in here for a few minutes. Like, what the fuck? And like it took her several minutes for her to like sit back up and like come back down and like, be able to stand up and like walk out of the building. And I just don't understand like how you can work with people on a regular basis and like how are you only focused on like your job and not like what people are actually experiencing as you're performing your job? Like fine, there's people that struggle drawing blood and shit like this happens, okay? Like I get it. But like at the same time like don't invalidate the experience. Don't sit there and like act like, oh, this happens all the time because that's exactly what she said. This happens all the time. Maybe with you, you motherfucker. And like the look on the coworker's face when she was standing back there, like not knowing why she was back there, she just looked like, I'm so sorry that this is happening. Just the look on her face. You know what I mean? And so I'm pretty sure that Debbie ain't going to be there next time we go back. But that was not a good situation. And so I drove us home and then when we get home, which is like this is my safe space, that's when my shit came to the surface and I started feeling like really crazy in my head and I didn't know why and I started feeling like really really like irritable. And so I just ran back here to my room and I turned on my sound machine, the thing that therapists use to like so you don't hear what's going on behind the doors. I turn that on as like a communicator to Alicia. Like whenever she hears it, she knows either I'm recording, don't come back here, or just plain don't come back here because I need time to process or whatever the situation is. You know. And so I was back here for about an hour last night, and I was able to work myself through how I was feeling. And good old alexithymia, you know what I mean? Oh, it's so annoying. Like having to wait for my brain to tell me what's going on in my brain. And I realized I was upset with myself for not having seen sooner what was going on in the appointment because I'm usually very astute, but like nothing like that has ever happened before. They usually can get blood out pretty quickly, and if you get ones that don't know how to do it right away, they know to stop and get somebody else. But this one just kept going, and I was mad at myself for not registering it sooner and having let all of that happen before. Like my brain was like, "Oh, hello, ding ding ding. This isn't supposed to be happening like this." And I was also very angry at that fucking lady, Debbie. And then another weird form of anger came up because it was the part where it was like, Debbie is a human. Maybe she had a bad day. Um, maybe this really what is like a fluke and she's been fine any other time and like something just happened before our appointment. So like the part of me that was like, wait a minute, is this like what it means to like try to like have compassion or something for somebody or like try to see things from their side? And I was telling my brain, what brain? We do this all the time. I am perfectly capable of putting myself in other people's shoes all the time. I do it. But like not in a situation where like I feel like we've been wronged and I want to do something about it. Like it was this like and it was this weird anger of like, great, I have done the work to where I don't do that now, and now I'm mad at myself for not doing the thing that I want to do that brings me satisfaction, which is being a bitch. 'Cause I had a mouth on me. Sorry about this episode. It's probably gonna it's half hour. Okay, it's not too bad. Um, man, I'm just glad that that's over. I'm glad that, like, I took the time because I told Alicia too, like, I have to get better at telling her I'm about to go disappear for who knows how long because she thought I was like irritated at her. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I am afraid to react on my brain. Like, when I feel that way in the past, when I react on my feelings, I do things I regret and I do things that have hurt people. And I don't want to do that. And I'm still not at the point where, like, what do I do other than run away to my room and wait for the storm to pass? So I'm just going to take it as a win because I didn't do anything or say anything that I regret, other than I wish I had spoken up sooner, but like I can't do anything about that now. So I just thought I would get on here and just like get this out of my brain and hopefully somebody can relate to this. Um, yeah, and fuck people. And I guess like, I guess doing work on yourself is good because I did like I tried to record an episode when I got home. Like that was not a good idea. I already knew like I don't know what that episode would have sounded like, but probably not very good. So I just needed time to process. I was like, this is like, why is this still bothering me? I don't know. Like, I don't like seeing my wife like that. It's not often that I don't see her like that. She just doesn't, I don't see her like that. So that really bothered me. So I don't know. People just need to be nicer humans. That's all. Just notice when somebody else isn't doing okay and be a human. Like, that's not unprofessional for you to be a fucking human, Debbie. Debbie Downer. Okay, thanks for listening. Hope this was relatable. Goodbye.